I'm sitting here talking to Joe Fiorini from Cleveland, Ohio. How you doing, Joe?
Doing well. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing great. Joe and I used to work together, but he's gone on to much bigger and better things. He's got a new job, but I don't want to talk about his job. I want to talk to him about his pet project. Tell us about it.
So myself and 3 friends, back in October, we entered in a competition called the Rails Rumble. Rails Rumble is a 48-hour competition to develop a website. It could be anything we want it to be. Only constraint is it has to be done in 48 hours. We had started on Friday night at 8, finished it on Sunday night at 8. And so we developed an app called MeetInBetween.us that allows you to enter any number of addresses, and it will give you the midpoint and suggest a number of categories for places that you could meet, such as food or coffee shop, or if you're so inclined, Apple Store, or you could put in your own category. So we went through the competition. There was about 250 entrants, about 130 completed applications, and of those, of all the entries, we ended up being the winner.
Outstanding. It's all built in Ruby?
All built in Ruby and JavaScript.
JavaScript, Ruby, and Rails, I imagine?
Well, yeah, Ruby on Rails.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Talk about the process a little bit. How did you guys? Did you have the idea going in? What you were going to do?
Well, that's actually kind of an interesting story. We had an idea going in, and then like I mentioned, the competition started on Friday. We had an idea going in, and it was basically Plaxo for all intents and purposes. So we weren't extremely passionate about the idea.
Oh, your other idea, your rejected idea, was
idea.
Similar to Plaxo. Okay.
And then I was just riding to work with a coworker one morning. We were talking a little bit about Rails Rumble. I was kind of explaining to her the competition, and she was like, "You know what I would love to see?" And she just spouted off the idea. And I said to her, "You know, can we take this?" And she said, "Sure. I don't want to write it. I just want to use it."
What's her name?
Her name is Kim Sari.
All right.
Hi, Kim. I got a hold of the team in the morning, and once I got to work, and said, "Hey guys, mind if we switch our idea?" And fortunately, it was a simple enough problem that wasn't really the end of the world. Actually, it worked out for the best that we changed, because we were all really excited about it.
This was like the day before the competition?
It was the day before the competition.
Well, what would prevent you from just writing the whole thing in advance? And then typing it when you got there.
So GitHub, which is a very popular site for storing your source code using the Git source control system, they were one of the sponsors for the event, and they gave every single team their own account, and the moderators of the event had access to the source control account. So they were watching our source control commits. Okay. And so if you commit 10,000 lines of code in the first hour of the competition, chances are you're going to
Okay, so you could think about it in advance, although you only thought about it for a day.
Yeah.
But writing code in advance was forbidden.
Basically.
Who were the other guys on the project?
So we had Josh Walsh, who was a usability expert. He's actually going to be speaking here tomorrow.
You were at Code Mesh in Sandusky?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here at Code Mesh. He's going to be speaking tomorrow. Jonathan Penn, who's soon to be another employee at Within 3, and Andrew Kavadar, who's the organizer of Startup Drinks and the soon-to-be Startup Week in Cleveland.
Ah, okay. So when you got there, tell me about the process of how'd you go about designing and building this thing?
So,
when it was just an idea.
So we knew that in order to have anybody use our app, we could not make it. We didn't want to log in. That was our first thing. We had some good ideas about what we could do with a login, but we said this could be the last thing we do, and we never got to it. So we didn't want anybody to have to log in to use our app.
Low barrier to entry.
Huh?
Low barrier to entry.
Low barrier, the lowest barrier to entry possible, and we really stressed make it like Google, because the thing that made Google back in the late '90s was their homepage. You go to the page, you enter in your search text, and you hit search. So we really wanted the simple, clean interface, and the best way to do that was following something similar to the 37 signals process that they call getting real, which is the idea that we have a fixed amount of time, we have a fixed budget, which was 0. So the only thing that we have left to flex is scope. So we kept the scope as simple as we possibly could to ensure that we could get everything we wanted to get done in 48 hours.
So that you say the 37 signals process is that idea of picking what is fixed and what is flexible?
Well, it's specifically scope is flexible.
Okay, so picking
time and budget are fixed resources. So the only thing that you can really flex in a project is scope.
Okay, so you just bought into that and because it was a reality and you designed around that. How'd you break out the work?
It was actually it was kind of funny. We weren't really sure how that was going to work out. Going into the event, I had the feeling that I would end up being the one trying to manage the server and code Rails, because our other Rails developer unfortunately had to drop out at the last minute. We were lucky enough to find Jonathan Penn, who came up at the last minute and spent the weekend with us. And ended up being an awesome JavaScript developer. And it turned out that we needed an awesome JavaScript developer. And it turned out that another one of our team members was a great server admin. So I was able to concentrate on the Rails code. We had a really good JavaScript developer. And then we had Josh, who's an awesome UI and UX developer. So I think the splitting the work actually ended up being completely natural. We all kind of assumed our roles as the event went on.
Outstanding. What time did you finish?
8 p.m. on Sunday.
Actually,
10 minutes before we finished, we said, "Hey, did anybody check the site in IE6?" Because all 4 of us were using Macs. So we had to get on IM with all of our Windows friends and say, "Hey, can you test this in IE6 for us?" And turned out that there was a bug that we were able to get fixed.
JavaScript guy fixed?
Huh?
The JavaScript guy fixed it?
Yeah. We were able to get it fixed at the last minute.
And how's the site been received? Are you getting a lot of traffic? Are you counting the hits?
Yeah, we're using Google Analytics on the site. We're getting about, I think, last I heard, we were getting about 50,000 uniques a month.
Wow, that's terrific.
During the event, though, we were getting, there was one day we had 3,000 hits in a day.
Outstanding.
So yeah, we were getting we got a lot of press during the event. We were actually on Lifehacker one day, which completely melted the server. And
oh, is that right? Is the scale?
We were. It wasn't Rails. It was actually it was MySQL that crapped out first.
Have you addressed that since then, or are you just not counting on nobody being that?
Well, the thing was because the company called Linode that does Rails hosting and virtual server hosting, they donated boxes to us, which was very generous. But the boxes only had 256 megs of RAM
per server. Wow.
Per server.
In the Microsoft world, that's unheard of.
So it was running fine until we were on Lifehacker, and fortunately, Linode was kind enough to upgrade us to a gig of RAM.
Okay, so this might happen again because I heard a rumor that you're going to be on a couple of very popular podcasts coming up.
We were just interviewed today for .NET Rocks, and we'll be getting interviewed for a couple more tomorrow. So,
can you tell me who it is tomorrow?
Deep Fried Bites with Chris Woodruff and Keith Elder, and Web Dev Radio with Michael Kimzel.
Well, I'm familiar with Deep Fried Bites, and .NET Rocks was a great podcast. They're really popular, so you might want to check your scalability before those go live. But
we should be good.
It sounds like you're having a lot of success with us. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Great job. Thanks for being with us today.
Of course. Thank
Bye.
you.